All right, welcome back. We're at stop 3 on the Doubted Tour. We're in Jacksonville, Florida at Baker Sports. I'm here with Josh Baker, the owner. We're just going to get to know his story and the company, and I can't wait for y'all to see this place. This place is absolutely wild. There's stuff everywhere, sports stuff everywhere, clothing everywhere, football stuff everywhere. It's kind of unique, and I'm excited for him to tell us about his story and how it happened and just all the details in it. Just wanted to welcome Josh.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys making a stop by on the tour. It means a lot.
Yeah. So honestly, man, we just want to know your story. We like to talk to business owners, especially one at this caliber, because everybody's trying to start businesses, and it's not an easy process. It takes time.
No, it definitely takes time. I kind of fell into mine a little bit. Started right out of high school. I graduated in May of 1997, and August of 1997, I'm going to University of North Florida as a freshman and registered for classes, I guess, late July. And there was a Play It Again Sports next to the barbecue restaurant my dad and I ate at, and it was literally its last day of business. So I bought all the baseball and softball items they had at like 90% off and sold it out of the back of my truck. And from there it was kind of like, well, this is fun. I could do this. So I started screen printing T-shirts out of my mom's garage, and then later on I had an embroidery machine in her house at my old bedroom, and just kind of going to school in the morning, selling all afternoon, and then printing or running an embroidery machine at night, and just kind of grew from there.
So it's definitely not a overnight process. You've actually done most of this stuff yourself when you started.
You'll see on the tour later, but everything in the building I've done myself except the welding. They don't let me touch the fire.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either. So kind of break down, obviously you started yourself. How did you end up being like, okay, I think I'm ready to grow this even more? I know there's multiple opportunities that came in front of you with different things, but kind of walk us through that.
So I was about 2 years in, like 99, 2000, right at 99, and I'm like, I'm a good student, but I hate sitting in a classroom. I like to be out and about. I like to, I don't like to have, the classroom controlled environment. So I'm like, this is turning into a little more than a side business. It's like, so let's give it a go. Let's go full speed. Let's go all in. So I did. My wife, Tiffany, she was a senior in high school when I started it. So she'd been with me the whole way. She was still going to school, but she was helping me at night on the books and everything. And, just kind of dove all in, hired my first sales rep. I hired a guy doing my screen printing, hired someone running an embroidery machine. And the next thing you know, we're rolling. We're off and going, and, thinking in 2000, we did like $3 million in sales.
Yeah.
So we went, we took off pretty quick once I dove all in.
Now, this was 98?
98.
98.
Right. Yeah. 97 when I started. 98 when we really got going.
And then 98 is when you actually, Baker Sports.
Correct. Yeah. It's always been Baker Sports. As soon as I decided it was going to be a true business, that's the name we started with and we've kept.
Yeah, so now let's jump into, you have obviously a wife and you have 3 kids. Let's talk about that. And, I know a couple of them played baseball, and then you got a daughter as well. So
yes, I've got 2 boys, Brooks and Rylan. Brooks is a sophomore at the Citadel. So he played baseball and football growing up and ended up quitting baseball and wrestling. Ended up being a wrestler in high school, and had a really good high school career. Rylan, which you guys know well, Rylan's a football, baseball guy, but he's a baseball player right now. He's committed to VCU to go play. My daughter Caroline's in the 7th grade. She's 12, so she plays lacrosse and rides horses. So you go back to the early days of Baker Sports, and I was a baseball football guy at heart. And when Brooks started playing t-ball, and it's like we really grew in the baseball area, and and that led to the next business. 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago to the day, I purchased Burbank Sport Nets. So Burbank Sport Nets was a 3rd generation family-owned company. So a month after I bought it, we had to host the 100th anniversary party. So that's how old. They started as shrimp nets and then got into the sports nets, and we've kind of taken it multi-sports now. But it's funny how what your kids' hobbies are, and you're probably seeing that now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're seeing that, and your kids' hobbies turn into, you can put them into your business model. It works out.
Absolutely. So the Baker Sports was the first thing, and then you bought into the net company, and then you also got some football stuff going on back here too.
Yeah, so 3 years ago we purchased Pro Gear shoulder pads.
Okay.
And so Pro Gear shoulder pads it's a custom high-end shoulder pad, built for the Power 4, Division I college teams to the NFL teams. And then when I took it over 3 years ago, we've added some stock pads that we import now that we go all the way down to the little guys. So we went from just selling 2,000 pads a year at the high-end college NFL market to now we're doing 60,000 pads a year from the little guy all the way to Travis Kelce.
Yeah, and they were really they're unique. We went back here and looked at them earlier before the podcast. They're very thin.
Yeah.
Back when I played, they were bulky and thick, and it was a hassle to wear them. Especially being a quarterback, it's really difficult.
Yeah, and that's our engineering department's done a great job of, they know that today's athlete wants minimal.
Yeah.
They want to be free, they want to move, and to use materials that give them better protection than the old big bulky, Herschel Walker shoulder pads, but give them the freedom and the movement and the cool look. Like we do the logo back place and the colors, so the cool look's a big part of it too.
That's cool. Now, with a business being this size, I know you've had some ups and downs and some bad things happen. What are some things that you've had to really fight through to keep it moving in the right direction?
I think it's the biggest thing, obviously the recession back in 08, 07, it didn't hit us as hard as most businesses because everybody's going to play sports, right?
Correct.
You may stop playing golf, you may stop fishing, but you're still going to pay for your kids to play sports.
Correct.
So that didn't hit us hard. I mean, obviously COVID was a problem, but we were in the South, and thanks to our governor here in Florida, Ron DeSantis, we were dead about a month, and then we really got going. Travel baseball was the first thing that came back, and we're heavy in that world. So, but overall, it's just keeping up with the growth, right? And not financially, but keeping up with the growth and not losing service.
Yeah.
We're going to be a $50 million company this year, and when you're that big, to still try to treat every individual order like it's the most important order in the company, it's hard to maintain that, and that's where we spend most of our time focusing on.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing because anytime, obviously, we do our uniforms through you.
Right.
The way y'all make it, everybody's their individual. Like it's not just get it out, get it out, get it out. I think that's the biggest thing in a company, and having an owner that is respectful and willing to get on a phone call and not be in a corner and nobody can get a hold of you. I think that's a big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's so many different things can go wrong in our world. Most of our orders are shipped 3 times. Yeah. From the manufacturer to decorator to the end user, and there's going to be mistakes. And what separates us from our competition is how we fix them. When mistakes come up, how we fix them. I mean, we had a rule from day one when I started the company is we are not going to let a kid go on the field without a uniform. It may not be the right number that he ordered, but we're going to have something on their back. Now, if it's a fan gear or something like that, it's going to be down the line of priority. But we are going to make sure the kids, because you remember your first jerseys, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're playing Little League baseball, and I mean, that's the coolest thing ever. Now, we're going to make sure that happens.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think the biggest thing of this whole company is all that you do. Like, you really do everything as far as making different types of jerseys. I mean, you can go into that, different options y'all have, and we'll go through the tour and show everybody, but just some different options that you have going forward. Pants, everything. Yeah,
so we want to control as many variables as possible. We got 64 sales reps on the Baker side, and I want them to win, compete. That's what my whole life's been about, competing, whether it be on the field, in business, whatever. And so we want to control as many variables as possible. So we actually have our own cut and sew uniforms, which you guys wear, that we make right here in Jacksonville. The Burbank piece made us the go-to shop for everything baseball. From bleachers to uniforms to nets, we do it all. And then Pro Gear kind of did the same thing for us in the football world in the locker room. So as you tour this facility, you see all that my guys have access to. Control the variables because we want to be able to service. You call, say, hey, my son's uniform don't fit. We got a game Saturday. All right, we got you. We'll figure it out.
We'll send something to you.
We get you covered.
Yeah. Something I didn't know about the facility until I got here, and Matt took me through that little tour before, is L screens. I mean, y'all literally do it all here.
We do, and we're different than any other dealer in the country because of our manufacturing capabilities. We're kind of a hybrid. We're somewhere between a manufacturer and a team dealer, which so we have both aspects, and we combine it all to make sure we can get the customer the best price and most importantly the best service.
So, with it being as big as it is now, y'all had to move. What was it? Do y'all have 2 locations now, or just this?
No, we've moved. All 3 companies were in separate locations, and now we're all under one roof.
One roof.
And it's 4 times larger than everything we had before. So we now have the space to grow and the space to really organize and spread out like we need to.
Well, and you can be at one place.
And I can be at one place. But I will say this. So that was a huge goal for me because I felt like my world would simplify a little bit.
Yeah.
It's actually gotten busier. So that was unexpected. So, I was always at Baker's every day, and then Burbank and Pro Gear I'd mix in once or twice a week. But those two staffs got used to taking care of the small issues and the medium issues. Well, now I'm here every day.
Come to you.
So they come to me every day, and it's been great because we've been able to progress. We've been able to grow, add new products, add people. But it has been a lot busier than I expected.
I can see that, though. They go straight to the boss and say, hey, what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want to do here? And it may have been something that they would have made the decision before on their own. I would never even known about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you have your hands in even more than you did.
Correct. And they like it. I mean, they enjoy seeing me, and they feel like they're more part of the team. And that's the big thing, right? Is now we went from three teams to one big team.
One big team, yeah.
Like you mentioned to me earlier, you like the lunchroom area and some of the common areas we have. Man, it's just so cool for me to see, the companies that I built over 28 years and everybody just merging as one.
That's something that I was about to touch on, too. Is like I walked in the back. There's one lunchroom right here.
Yeah.
You said you're about to put a golf simulator and some stuff in the back for the people. My main thing is they don't really have to leave.
No.
Like all your workers can stay here. You've
Yeah.
got 90-inch TVs here. You've got lounge areas. You're putting a simulator in. Like they got a lunchroom. That's really cool as someone that has worked before. Like
Right.
obviously in something like this, like
Yeah.
you don't have to leave.
Yeah, and the buzzword, right, in business and sports, culture. Culture is what you create, right? Culture is what you make. And from day one, we've wanted to have a locker room culture. All of us in the building, almost all of us played a sport or multiple sports. And that's what the compete, one, competition, but two, the camaraderie in the locker room. And that's what we have here. I mean, we bust each other's chops and give each other a hard time, but it's all in fun, and we have a good time working because happy workers are better workers.
Correct. If everybody's on the same page, you can get some stuff done.
Absolutely.
So obviously you've moved all three companies here. What's the goal going forward? Like what are some cool things y'all got working? Obviously you might be able to tell some of them, but
Yeah.
What's some cool things you got going? I know you've got the shoulder pads is huge. I just found out about that. Getting into some Travis Kelce, like that's ridiculous. That's cool.
Yeah, so a couple things. Like the Pro Gear line and the Burbank line are national brands. We have Burbank install crews that go, Colorado Rockies backstop, Anaheim Angels backstop, all over the country. And then the Pro Gear pads obviously is a national brand, from all the colleges around. So we want to do two things. We want to take and utilize what we've created with Pro Gear when we're number one pad at Ohio State, number one pad at Michigan, Georgia, Clemson, Tennessee, all these guys, and we want to get in more of that locker room. Use the pad to get in that locker room and do more business within the college world, but then also grow the Baker's brand to where we're covering youth teams and high schools nationally, create a national footprint. That's where I'm spending all my time right now, focused on growing the footprint.
With me and Ian owning the facility, I think it's really cool too with this company because let's just say another company, no names or whatever, if we wanted jerseys, then we'd go to this company. And if we wanted to fill our facility, we'd have to go to this company. The cool thing about this is it's one hub. Like I can call one place, you can dispatch me to whoever
Right.
and get it done. And with your net company too, found this out earlier, they can design whatever net, whatever size.
It's all custom.
All custom. So any facility owners, they
right.
can design whatever you want to.
Install everything.
Everything. So.
And you touch on the being the one-stop shop, right? Well, in colleges, everybody's got an equipment manager. Equipment manager gets paid to go to wherever you need to get the product. High schools, youth leagues, facilities, travel teams, you don't. Like it's an owner or it's a coach that's having to take their time to do it. So that's what we want to do. My staff, I keep saying my guys, but we have 6 female sales reps that crush it. My team wants to be your equipment manager. They want to be you. We want you to tell them what they want. They research it, they find it, they show you mock-ups, and it's done where you can go coach or you can go run your business.
Yeah. So we've got cool things coming in here for like the workers and stuff like that. You actually mentioned something earlier about a little gym.
We're going to put a little fitness center. So building's kind of cool. It's the Winn-Dixie grocery store. The original use was this was their headquarters, their corporate headquarters years ago in Jacksonville. So, back then everybody used to smoke. So right in the middle of the office area, it's got the little atrium like you saw next to the thing. So it's a big room off the side of that. We're going to put some cardio equipment, some fitness, and just, creating that healthy, again, locker room lifestyle.
Yeah, so you definitely don't have to leave after that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, so what financial leaps have you had to take with this business? Because a lot of business owners or want to go into businesses, sometimes they don't know what's about to hit them. And, we're starting to have to take some with doubted that we're really not ready for yet with computers, cameras, hiring someone extra because we're starting to grow so big that now you got to pay an employee. So talk a little bit on that.
Yeah, so, a lot of it I got to relate back to my upbringing.
Yeah.
I was small country town, Callahan, Florida, just north of Jacksonville. My dad's the only attorney in town, but we lived in a 1,400 square foot house,
Yeah.
a 2-bedroom, 14. So, he made good money. He was the only attorney in town, but we didn't spend a lot of money. We lived simple. We had what we had what we had, and we were happy with it. And I think that's how I've always been. My wife and I are both working here. The business has provided for us. We've never taken on any partners. We've never taken on any outside investors. Used the bank sporadically for a loan here, a loan there, but just live within your means and dump it all back in. Build it for the future. And that's what we feel like we've done here is we've built a major asset that one day we'll capitalize on, but we've done it the right way. We've done it without debt and just continue to push the chips back into the middle of the table. Bet on yourself. I guess that's the best way I put it. Bet on yourself.
That makes sense because me and Ian is the same way. We'll make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we need a new lens. We need a new camera. We need to. It's going to give us that much more growth.
Or you see what you need, and you go find a way to make it happen, right? I see I need this. If I had this automated screen press, we'd be so much more efficient. I get so much more done. Well, go find the business that's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then that's what true entrepreneurs do. They figure it out. In today's world, you see these young people, they get out of school and they've learned about this type of venture capital and they go raise all this money. Well, they don't have enough skin in the game.
Yeah.
Like, when your skin's in the game, you're gonna work hard.
Exactly.
If you know your kids, your kids eating or your livelihood depends on it, you're gonna bust your butt. And that's what's missing a lot of times.
Yeah, I think you hit that on the nail because we're starting to feel that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously with the 5-star heat and stuff like that, but this is actually a company where it's like things aren't cheap.
No.
Cameras aren't cheap.
No. Technology is not cheap.
It's not cheap, but you have to have it.
Yeah, it's a necessity.
So as someone starting a business, what are some business things like websites you'll need? Like, what was your process and all that type of stuff? Obviously, social media is huge, but you can't really have social media until you have products.
And we're not good at it. We're not good at it. We need to get better at that. So there's a lot that we can improve on. But, the advice I always give when I speak in some classrooms, some business class, stuff like that, just the person that works the hardest never loses. Yeah. You may not win the biggest, but you never lose if you just outwork everybody. I remember just diving in to where could I get this product from? What manufacturers would sell me product? Who could I sell to? The knowledge that I would cram myself, it's like studying for a test, right? The more you study, the better you're going to do. And the more you study, whatever business you're going to, and most importantly, do something that you enjoy. You're never going to be successful if you don't like what you do. I can't stress that enough. I go back to my oldest son, I was a baseball guy, running 5-star, doing all that stuff that we were doing. And I knew early on that he didn't love it. He liked it. He liked hanging out with the guys. But, as soon as he went to wrestling, which he loved he just flourished and took off. So just do what you love. Find a passion and dive all in. And bet on yourself.
As employees, obviously you have a lot of employees here on the Baker side, all the other 3. And we talked earlier about a lot of them are ex-athletes and stuff like that. And not saying other people aren't great employees.
No.
Have you seen a difference with athletes in this type of company being beneficial?
Oh, 100%. One, their passion for sports. They're an athlete, so they already have a passion for what we do. And then, just the 3 types, I'd say there's 3 special types that have really excelled with us. Okay, so we talk about the female athlete. Had to work her butt off. A lot of times underappreciated. Doesn't have the tools and everything that the male athletes get. So always got a chip on her shoulder, works her butt off. Those have been super successful. The former baseball player, the minor league baseball player. You know this route, right? Matt Lewson played with you. Rode a bus. Get to a hotel 3 o'clock in the morning, got to play the next day. Minimal meal money, just a rough life. They don't mind the grind. They'll work. A 16-hour day every now and then. Nothing's crazy for them. And then the one we've hit a home run with lately is coaches' kids. We've got like 6 sales reps, our younger sales reps now that we found that their dads were high school coaches or both their parents were coaches, and they know the grind and they take criticism well, they fix it, and they just work. So get a little more specific than just your athlete, right? We found a really cool niche with those 3 groups.
That's cool. So, obviously, I appreciate you taking this and doing this podcast, and I'm excited to show everybody what we've been talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate everything you do, guys, in general.
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody wants to follow you, what's the website?
It's bakersport.com, so it's 2 S's in the middle, no S on the end, and then through our socials.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all.